Good morning, welcome back to the channel, and like it says, with some ravenous intent, I am rolling into the comments. Wait to the end and it should make sense. From Sleep Dope Smoker, only thing is that weird is that you haven't heard about it. Really? A entire song, hour plus, monotonous trudging through the desert while on dope song. And it's weird that someone's never heard of it. I know I can't be the first person who's never heard of that. So, once again, I believe that's probably Greyhound there probably thinks more of them than society as a whole. I thought it was cool. I actually thought it was kind of interesting, and I felt it was marching music for a desert environment. So, to be fair, nailed it. Back at Blondie, the hardest part, going way back, you don't know what an armored car is. I don't know what was said there, but I don't think they understood. I might be a goofball, but I'm positive I understand what Loomis or other industries. Armored cars, very nice win for the right criminals. Exciting, Hollywood movies. I know it's. I'm sure I didn't understand, and you were following close enough to get that. Do another Sound and Fury Bullet Factory. Well, you can't see it, but I've already brought it up. And adding it to the morning. So, very cool. All right, and continuing on from Fastball the Way. A very good comment there, which that's why I did it. I heard it in the background while I was working one night, and man, it's catchy, and I looked it up, and I was like, wow, ooh. And then found out where the story was taken from, and it hits hard. I can understand wanting the hopeful side of it all. I think they wrote a much more hopeful song than the actual story goes, and but I appreciate taking the time and reflecting upon it in the comments. So thank you. Cindy here, dude, I'm allergic, so your intro rant left me confused. I can't remember if that was the Dan that we were going up against Bandmade with. I think the confusion comes from the fact that I didn't want to reference the satanic Illuminati Super Bowl or say the words to give it any power. I think when people talk about stuff, they give legitimacy to the topic, and my mega elite influencers flashing satanic symbols while they wear blasphemous clothes, just not the sort of thing that I would either reflect upon or comment on. So it's like I was playing. So it gets confusing. Because if you only watch one artist, what a waste of time this channel must be. Because everything's connected to everything else. The entire day is going to reflect back on the comments. Wait, you think we're here because people can sing good? I mean, really. That's not what we're here for. That's literally the least important thing about the channel. Weird. Maybe rising up against the control system that enslaves you. That could be what the channel's for. To explain that any sort of bondage and slavery is wrong, and we don't need to go back even a decade or two. It's just going on right now. So you know what I'm saying. The rants are all that matter. The music worship, that's not that important. It's not that important. The day we could leave music behind would be awesome. I'm not sure that's happening anytime soon, but it would be awesome. Because the substance of life itself is what should matter, not the escapist nature of life. Oh, I get to escape again. Yay! Yay! I went and got my bull squeezins this morning. And I look at the newspaper and I'm like, I asked the person at the register, which now I'm a little disappointed in, because no cognitive abilities, no thought. I just don't like people. I don't like that. Hey, maybe you should question why they stick it in your face every day like it's true. Because if any of that shit, people must be just not awake to this idea. If any of the charges were real, he'd already be in fucking prison. God, people are just. It's really amazing to see how people reflect upon this. I mean, my own father's one of them. A homeowner I just worked for, TDS all day. Really good human being, but has been so brainwashed that they'll support a pedophile before they'd support freedom. Right? That's just the truth. It's that case where the alphabet community come out and said, hey, this ruling is going to get used against us. And really? Why would you say that? At what point do you think protecting your atrocities is a lifestyle choice? I'm not talking about just poor decisions and morally gray. We're talking about the evilest of evil. And there are those who defend it. So yeah, no. I'm not gonna it's so scary when they throw one person's name at me and rub it in all the time to brainwash me while the other guy literally can't stop sniffing on kids. Like, I mean, I heard a really wonderful person defend the president by saying, well, all his people say he's sharp as a tack. Really? That's enough. That's enough. That liars lying to you from behind the scenes is enough to convince you. That's crazy. That's crazy. And surfing there is out of the Bandmade, Unleash. And I think, once again, it's a misunderstanding on the fun I was having. Because all opinions for entertainment purposes only, of course, it is all of subjective. I was just trying to not talk about the Super Bowl because I'm pretty sure that is a, mind F indoctrination program. I don't even know. I just found out football is registered as sports entertainment. So I'm not even sure it's legitimate anymore. But I know all those shots and the imagery, that was on purpose. So what is it? Is it for the love of the game, or is it for love of the $1 million minute advertising, mind trip program? I don't know. But when it comes to the channel, I was just trying to say, let's see which fan base, right? And then I was talking about how if you bury, really it was about algorithmic advantages to putting out too popular reactions for my channel, not in general, because honestly, Swifties aren't probably coming over and listening to Bandmade, right? So to pretend any of this thing's relevant, they're not. They're all literal cults, okay? Yeah, I wasn't, I think you misunderstood in a way that I was just playing to stick it to the Super Bowl because I wouldn't even watch a commercial anymore. I can't give any attention or energy to those things that are destructive to society as a whole. And the Super Bowl, for sure, not worth any of our time or effort. Now, you can like it all you want out there in the real world. That's cool. For entertainment purposes only, think it's a big load of crap. And then down below that there, that comes off the Pogues. Band played Waltzing Matilda. And I unfortunately don't believe that NATO is our allies. I believe they're representatives of the New World Order and a control system that's ugly and based on perversion. I actually side with the people who would like to put an end to perversion as a platform. That in no way do I need government control and intervention into my life, for the most part, because they can't seem to get it right. And to be fair, I spent a bunch of time last night looking into internet freedom, language, free speech, and how maybe it was a tool to spy on people from the very start, and the evidence is strong for that. So I'm not sure. I I don't. I also think democracy is an illusion because the Chinese people call that democracy. And, you'd have to be just completely stupid to believe that's a democracy. No social credit score, 5-minute cities, none of that shit. That's totalitarian, authoritarian driven regimes. It's not freedom. It's not freedom, baby. It's not freedom at all. Hey, this is awesome. So now we get to the core of my morning. Ravenous with just a pile of kick-ass comments that I haven't finished up with. So I thought we'd start here and get a few of them up there and I share because it makes my day every time. On this one here, the fact that you hadn't heard marijuana or anything off of Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, but knew who Reverend Horton Heat was, that's cool. The Toadies, Reverend Horton Heat, and Butthole Surfers. First concert I went to after I got out of the joint. And was a very memorable experience. First time I got in the pit in 5 years. And there was a little something coming out that day. And I got to see marijuana played live. And I loved it. And was sold from the get-go. Well, I don't want to look like completely different, but I am. I just got back from talking to Ange. And, well, it's that the comment there, the 205, the cannabinoids. Phoenix Tears, Rick Simpson's story is one of the things that set me on my path to discovery. The percentage of I think cure he was getting with the I don't know how to deal with this one because I didn't read it up until now and I had to run out and tell Ange. That's the reason your comments is kind of one of the reasons I do what I do. Because as the normies, why are the normies so happy with being lied to? Why can't we? Why? Why can't the thing? So that so I really believe this. I do. It's my fallback conversion belief that if I ever if the force of will doesn't keep me healthy, there's Rick Simpson oil. Why is it okay to keep giving the money to the pharmacon industry? Didn't we just find out that antidepressants has been a big lie? That there's no effect next to what placebo. Now I'm not saying 100%. All opinions for entertainment purposes only. You'd have to do further research, of course. But I'm pretty sure. I thought I saw this, like I said, for shits and giggles. But I know both my brother and Ange had bad experiences with, the zombification of psychotropic aids. And getting them off it, keeping them off it, and helping them discover that is not a hazy stupor is not how you should live your life. But maybe having to free yourself from the associations of dealers and others would have really. Sorry, I'm mixing two things together there, because it turns out, well, it turns out Ravenous is giving me a big ego, and talking about quotables, and I appreciate that. Um, I'm going to move the big story to the news story because I think they all mix together. And they're just things I'm interested in. I'm not saying it's true. I'm no longer in a position to believe I know what's going on. I know what's going on that I can understand and relate to. Because it's obvious my peers in my little hometown here, well, not hometown, but my little town where I live, they are much happier ignoring the entire world. They could burn down around them until it gets to their backyard. They just don't care. And yeah, revolutions need victims all the time. And the fact that they're just lining up to be victims breaks my heart. And there's a comment here that's really important because it's gonna go to the where the big story rolls into. Um, it, it it was the Obama administration, the end of the Smith-Mundt Act, I believe, and the introduction of legal propagandizing against citizens. That was an outward mission statement, I think. I think it was only supposed to be directed at your enemies. Yeah, loose lips sink ships and all that crap. Then, yeah, the whistleblowers, Assange, Snowden, others, and they made you feel like if someone wasn't protecting the status quo at a corrupt corporation, they're the bad person. But obviously, that's just not true. Um, it was a big deal when they started getting rid of, right? When oh, whistleblower, you can't believe that. It's For me, it was watching the Black Hawk footage of them begging to kill rescuers. Right? I understood. This is all of this. All these documents were problematic to the powers that wanted to be. We can't show you the total disdain for human life because as much as your hearts and minds are set on revenge, when you see the ugly truth of it, you start changing your opinions, huh? So it's like they got to give us just enough information to keep people pissed off. Hearts and minds aligned with kill, kill, kill. It's heartbreaking. And then it's funny because now I see if you bring up a congressional hearing or something like that, they're like, "Well, what side's holding it?" Yeah, they're wings on the same bird. The elected fiasco shit show is talking about it. I don't care what side they're on. I only care what the morality is of the issue presented. Right? What are the moral implications of what's going on there? I had to double read that one. I agree with Ravenous again. This is where I agree with Ravenous. I do. So I think the deeper lyrical content helps, and I think that it's laced with meaning everywhere. Agree. Yeah, because I love that encyclopedia cross-referencing kink. That's awesome. Because my fetish is the thesaurus. That's awesome. The world would be served better if that was the fetish that dominated, right? If I somehow secretly and unbeknownst to me desired the ability to grow mentally instead of thinking, feet are hot. And thank God it's only that for me. Oof. I can't imagine some of the other things people believe in or practice or are cool with. But hey, each their own because I understand how that works. Yeah, I wish we all coveted a knowledge, because I think that's what happens is I don't know what that word means. You look it up and you find out, and then you're like, I think that way all the time. I just don't say it as well. And that's a personal, subjective opinion, of course. I mean, being wordy doesn't make you. I think it makes it more interesting. It doesn't always make it smarter, right? The in Living Color skit with the two they're more like street level dudes trying to use high end you know intellectual language and then getting it wrong. It was funny. It's funny stuff. So I don't necessarily believe that it makes us smarter because we're listening to stuff with big words. But I do think that mixing a simple idea in creative poetic licensing really hides like universal truths or ideas that would reverberate, resonate between us. I think it's a good way to hide it and have your more thoughtful viewer dig deep. I think that's kind of in the ballpark we're talking here. So, let me finish. Yeah, that one, Ravenous, to be honest, it was about. So I was from Minnesota and I lived there my whole life. And for the most part. And it was burning the police station. It's such a hearts and minds move to leave that decrepit building sitting there as a monument. And I ask myself, for who does that instill resilience? I mean, who does that fortify? And then if it really was for the people, by the people, then it wouldn't work the way it's working. And I would interject this. St. Louis Park just had to admit, because they get their ass burned if they didn't, that Islamic students can opt out of gender studies. And then the floodgates open. The alphabet cult started freaking out. Why? Because, of course, that creates precedent. All religious exemptions will have to be honored. They have to now accept the truth that it turns out there isn't one dominant religion. Even though they'd like it to be that way, it turns out just not true. And wait till the right lawyer finds out that they can fight that on a moral grounds, not just religious. It just opens up this huge floodgate. I think there's an example of the people standing up and saying no. And the irony of the left pushing forward indoctrination ideology in schools, but then pushback from the one group they can't openly criticize. I find that really interesting. So I am totally supporting anybody's religion, freedom of choice, because it doesn't really matter who they are. Now, this does open the door for them Satanists too, but they kind of give themselves up by who they are as human beings, so it's okay. But I believe that this is more of an example of the people's will, because they are steamrolling ideas into place that no one agrees with, but if you disagree, you're a bigot. Really? Really? If you can't read the book at a school board meeting, your children can't read it. If it's no good for you adults, it's certainly no good for your children. If it's not good for you, it's not good for your kids. That's really not a complicated statement. It's not controversial. If you wouldn't want it done to you, you probably don't want anyone doing it to your kids. Ravenous, I cannot express how engaging you are on the channel, and there's a list. You are just an assigned seat on the bus if you want, kind of thing. I don't really like assigning seats, but if people had to have a certain location, I don't know. It could be a different bus line. It turns out we have to share. I do believe in that. It opens up right, making pedestals are bad, in my opinion. If we're all on the same playing field, the same level, good. But at this moment, a little up there. Really appreciate the time, the effort, the ideas, the back and forth, just all makes the day, makes my day. No kidding there. So, yeah, that is a long trip into comments with Ravenous Intent. I think you can see why. And now it's time for reactions. Back soon. Later.